Simple thought today. It's actually a thread that's got to do with a section of what I'm working on for getyourselftodothings.com. But it's just a question of, are you thinking the right amount about what you're working on? And I'm suggesting this because the usual answer we assume is that the more I think about it, the more it's going to help what I'm doing. And that's definitely not always the case. Overthinking it is absolutely a thing. I mean, that's why that word exists. But it's not as though we're helpless to how much we do or don't think about something. That's directly in our control. I remember when I was an undergrad and I would actually sometimes rationalize to myself that part of why I would stay up late working on things and then wake up early and be kind of groggy during the day was that if I was a little bit tired, well, I wouldn't overthink things so much, right? I would sort of lower my inhibitions. It would essentially stop me from daydreaming because I was too sleepy. And maybe it took me a year or two to grow out of that and realize I am in total control of whether or not I'm overthinking something or underthinking it or kind of the right amount for the step that I'm at. And lots of people I run into who are trying to learn game development or trying to pick up a new skill, they're trying to get themselves started a business, whatever, are frozen and just like stuck on this phase of trying to overthink it, of trying to figure out that if they think more about it, it's going to move them forward, or it's going to save them some effort. And a lot of what's going on is that they're trying to use information that they don't have, can't possibly have yet, can't be known yet, that the only way to figure out some of that information is to start moving forward. And we start moving forward sometimes when we pause our thinking, when we decide, you know what, I've thought about this as much as I productively can. I'm not only getting diminishing returns, but all it's doing at this point is getting in the way of me moving forward on it. Now, I'm not encouraging underthinking things. I'm not encouraging acting without taking any sort of consideration or planning into it. It's obviously not what this is about. But it is about realizing when we hit this point. It's kind of like I had an anger video a while ago about, the appropriate level of being frustrated with something to be productive. It's not maximum. It's not more. What can happen is if we think that the answer of why we haven't moved forward is we haven't thought enough about it, we get in this vicious loop where we're overthinking it. We overthinking it, and it just piles on itself where we trying to cram in more thought, more energy, more hours in the day, thinking that if we just think enough about it, it's going to come to fruition. And meanwhile, we're not moving. Our arms aren't typing. We're not standing up. We're not getting out there. We're not interviewing people. We're not having the conversations, the network that we need to have to make something come together in the world around us and not just up here. And I mean, maybe it seems like a silly way to put this, but I think one of the ways I've sort of tried to even think about these sometimes is just in this like moment of just trying to get myself to just do this tiny little thing. And this doesn't work. This is not for about enormous, life-changing, ongoing habits. This is simply about I need to open up my email thing and send some responses. I need to just start this real little thing. One thing I've actually found kind of works for me sometimes is turning off my thinking temporarily. Kind of like, I don't know if you probably know this by now, right? Like little kids, one of the ways that sometimes parents might try to help sort of guide their behavior is to temporarily deny them some of their entertainment amusements. Take away the iPad, say, you can't play games until you've done your chores, until you've, whatever it is, laid out the table, until you've put away the dishes, whatever it is the kid's supposed to do, until you finished your homework. And the person's want of the entertainment and the amusement will drive them to go ahead and just take care of the thing so they can get the thing back that they're interested in. Now, this isn't really obviously a parenting discussion. I don't know, I'm not a parent, but that I do find this sort of technique can work to a limited degree with myself. Where part of the problem is that if I'm allowing my imagination just to run free, I can kind of amuse myself in terms of picturing all kinds of games I like and things I enjoy and movies I enjoy and good memories, and I'm just kind of like thinking about possibilities of the future and all kinds. It's like the brain can amuse itself. It's got kind of an iPad, or it's got sort of a game system. It's got sort of an internet connection of sorts built right in there. And if you shut that off and deny that to yourself, even just briefly, until you do the thing that you're meaning to do, until you respond to those emails, until you do the dishes, until you take out the trash, whatever it is you're trying to get yourself to do, there can just be this real little technique of basically taking away your entertainment. Where the entertainment is the screen that's in your mind. And again, I'm not saying, for goodness sakes, don't do this long term. It's going to fall apart. Probably can't really work that way anyway. There's some sort of, I wouldn't recommend trying it. Let's put it that way. It's really just intended for these short time frames of I just got to get myself up off the couch, or I got to get myself out of bed. Whatever it is, it's it's another tool at our disposal to say that maybe the reason I'm sticking around here is that my mind's just kind of swirling. But I can just knock out this thing. And then, as is often the case, once we start actually doing the thing, then our mind can kind of wander anyway while we're doing it. While we're doing the dishes, while we're responding to some simple emails, whatever it is that we're doing, we can start to do that more effectively. We can still have our mind sort of engaged there, rewarding ourselves maybe for having started the activity. But that's just throwing out there as a little thought, a little kind of one-off technique. But again, all dials back to this point that how much you think about something is in your control. It's up to you. And that more is not always better. More is not necessarily better. It's not a monotonic relationship between the amount of thought you put into something and how good it's going to come out. You're going to kind of hit a cap pretty quick if you just got to start trying some things. And it's going to inform your thoughts for the next steps in a more concrete, actionable, productive way. That's it for the day. Once again, these thoughts are related to getyourselftodothings.com. If you're not on the list, check it out. Probably another mail out to that list maybe in a week or two with a video unique to people on that list. I'll have another video for y'all tomorrow.